At 02:17 a.m., the city is alive, though no one notices it. Refrigerators hum in the background, traffic lights pulse through their endless cycles, security cameras watch, silently recording. Power plants hundreds of kilometers away push electrons through an invisible network that never sleeps. Then, without warning, it stops. No explosion, no sirens, no dramatic flash, just silence. The hum disappears first, then the faint buzz of electricity inside the walls. Within milliseconds, an entire urban ecosystem collapses into stillness. The blackout isn't just darkness, it's the sudden absence of everything modern life depends on. This is not a power outage. This is grid down. And in the first 10 minutes, almost no one understands what's happening. The cascade effect. Electric grids are not simple systems. They are tightly synchronized networks operating at precise frequencies. A disruption, whether from cyber attack, geomagnetic storm, or infrastructure failure, does not remain isolated. It cascades. When one section fails, load shifts to others. Those systems overload. Protective relays trigger shutdowns to prevent damage. Within seconds, entire regions disconnect. And restarting the grid? That's the part they don't talk about. It's called a black start, and it requires functioning infrastructure, coordination, and time. In a worst-case scenario, recovery could take days or weeks, but the real danger begins long before that. Minute 1 to 3, confusion. Phones light up, then go dark. Wi-Fi routers shut off instantly. Mobile networks hold for a few minutes running on backup power, but congestion spikes immediately. Millions try to connect at once. Calls fail. Messages stall. People check breakers assuming it's local. It's not. Outside, traffic signals are dead. At first, drivers slow. Then hesitation turns into chaos. Intersections become gridlocked within minutes. Elevators stop mid-floor. Emergency brakes engage. Thousands are trapped. Hospitals switch to backup generators, but those systems are not infinite. And in homes across the city, one critical realization begins to spread. This isn't coming back. Minute 4 to 10, the first signs of panic. Light pollution vanishes. For the first time in decades, the sky is visible. But no one is looking up. Instead, they're staring at dead screens. Modern humans rely on constant information flow. When it disappears, uncertainty fills the vacuum. And uncertainty is the most dangerous trigger in any crisis. People begin to ask questions. Is this an attack? Is it temporary? Is help coming? But there are no answers, because communication, the backbone of civilization, has just collapsed. The hidden truth about urban dependency. Cities are not self-sufficient. They are consumption hubs, entirely dependent on external systems. Food arrives daily, not stored locally. Water requires electric pumping and treatment. Fuel distribution depends on powered logistics. Medical supply chains operate in real time. Remove electricity, and you don't just lose convenience, you lose functionality. Within 10 minutes, a city becomes something else entirely. A dense population center with no coordination, no communication, and no immediate support. Hour 1, the realization phase. By the end of the first hour, patterns emerge. Backup generators kick in, briefly restoring power in critical locations. Hospitals stabilize. Some businesses reopen temporarily. But cracks begin to show. Fuel levels are limited. Most generators are designed for hours, not days. Meanwhile, people leave their homes, not because they have a plan, but because they need information. They gather in streets, on rooftops, near shops. Rumors spread faster than facts ever could. And this is where survival begins to diverge. The three types of people. In every grid-down scenario, populations split into three behavioral groups. 1. The passive majority. They wait. They assume authorities will restore order quickly. They can serve nothing, change nothing, and prepare for nothing. This group suffers first. 2. The reactive survivors. They respond, but only after signs of danger appear. They rush to stores, they attempt to gather supplies, but by the time they act, resources are already scarce. This group struggles. 3. The proactive minority. They move immediately. They understand systems, they recognize patterns, and they act before panic spreads. This group survives. The first critical decision: stay or move? It's the question every urban survivor must answer, and most will get wrong. At first, staying seems logical. Your home is familiar. Your supplies, however limited, are there. But cities are not designed for long-term isolation. As hours pass, population density becomes a liability. Shared resources diminish rapidly. Crime probability increases. Emergency services degrade. Sanitation systems begin to fail. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to leave. What they don't tell you. Authorities often project control, even when systems are failing. Why? Because panic spreads faster than any blackout. But this creates a dangerous illusion. People delay action, trusting that stability will return. In reality, every hour without power reduces recovery probability and increases systemic damage. The window for safe, strategic decision-making is very small. Miss it, and you're no longer planning. You're reacting. Hour 3, the tipping point. By the third hour, key indicators appear. Traffic congestion locks major routes. Fuel stations stop operating. ATMs and digital payments fail completely. Refrigeration systems begin warming. Perishable food starts degrading. Businesses close. Security systems go offline. And then something subtle but critical happens. Law enforcement response times increase, not because officers aren't working, but because demand exceeds capacity. This is the beginning of system overload. The urban survival paradox. Cities provide everything until they provide nothing. Their strength is efficiency. Their weakness is fragility. In normal conditions, centralized systems outperform decentralized ones. But in failure conditions, that same centralization becomes a single point of collapse. And when it collapses fast. The first night. Darkness returns, but this time it's different. There are no streetlights, no ambient glow. Entire districts are swallowed in black. For many, it's the first time experiencing true darkness, and with it comes something deeper: vulnerability. Sound carries differently. Every movement feels amplified. Uncertainty becomes physical. And in that darkness, behavior begins to shift. Some people stay inside. Others don't. The first 24 hours are not the most dangerous. They are the most deceptive, because nothing has fully broken yet. Water still flows, briefly. Food is still available, somewhere. Order still exists, on the surface. But beneath it, systems are degrading rapidly. And once critical thresholds are crossed, there is no easy recovery. This is where most people fail, not because they lack strength, but because they misread the situation. They think the worst hasn't started yet. In reality, it already has. The first night passes without resolution. No lights return. No official announcements break the silence. No reassuring signal cuts through the uncertainty. Morning arrives, not with relief, but with clarity. This isn't temporary. This is collapse in progress. Hour 6. The illusion of normalcy breaks. At sunrise, the city looks almost unchanged. Buildings still stand. Roads are intact. No visible destruction. But function is gone. And function is everything. People wake up expecting restoration. They check switches, phones, routers again and again, hoping for a response. There is none. The psychological shift begins here. Hope starts to erode. Water, the first critical failure. Most urban residents believe water